I'm here to talk today about, of course, Jesus Christ. Um, oh, where'd that storm come from outside?
I've never wanted to have sex with a pot pie, but I'd have sex with that pot pie.
We're all weak to stepping on nails.
Let me preface this by saying I wrote a script.
Daytona Beach is like two mild inconveniences from being a post-apocalyptic wasteland anyway.
So many of my tabs say semen.
Just gonna Google old Western women's names. You can't handcuff me for skanking.
This motherfucker gaslights you.
Diet Coke and Sorrow will be chapter 4.
And against all odds, Kyle, we became those squirrely weirdos.
This whole podcast is a very negative mouthfeel.
Hello and welcome to Debate This, the show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this show, we take time out of our busy adult lives to talk about comic books, video games, and how the first 20 minutes of Death Stranding involves 1. Sky Ghosts who make you cry.
It's my favorite country western song. Sky Ghosts Who Make You Cry.
2. Rain that is a time machine. Most importantly, 3. Guillermo del Toro's disembodied hologram telling you to administer morphine to the president, who is also your mom.
Andrew, I think you just took shrooms and then put Death Stranding into your PlayStation.
Oh, you just watched the loading screen for 4 hours?
Yeah, no, Andrew, this is like in orientation in college. Did you give us 2 truths and a lie about Death Stranding, and we have to guess which one isn't real?
I didn't. That is 100% the truth. I was live tweeting me playing Death Stranding at like 1 a.m. last night, and by live tweeting I mean just blast messaging these guys on Discord, and all of those things are 100% what happens in the first cinematic overview of Death Stranding.
I was at work and got the first text, and it's like, oh yeah, it's 11:30 at night where Andrew is, and he's starting Death Stranding. This is gonna be a party.
All right, guys, my mom is the president, but I'm not the youngest of 3.
Oh boy. Well, speaking of games of the year, now I know that it's a little that segue. I know that it just is a little bit late for us to be talking about 2020's game of the year, being it's 2021 and all. But I know that everyone out there has heard me foam at the mouth over Final Fantasy VII Remake. You've heard Todd recount his Ted Cruz themed Nightmare Flower Patch in Animal Crossing New Horizons. Yeah,
I'm gonna make that the image in for this Instagram post.
It's timeless and it will never age poorly. But there was only one game last year that almost unanimously devoured the extended hashtag #ButtWompNation family. Supergiant's Hades. Supergiant's Hades in an amazingly crafted, and this is not a bit, this game is fucking
It's
amazing.
just very
Oh yeah,
Incredibly fun romp through ancient Greek mythology. Now obviously there's a lot that make Hades the unique experience that it is, not the least of which the laundry list of powers they call boons that you can claim and craft together into these like near infinite number of game-breaking builds. These boons, of course, are given you by some of the most well-known gods among Greek mythology. So you've got Zeus, Artemis, Aphrodite, Poseidon, Ares, etc. But boy, oh boy, is this game horny.
It's so horny.
It's so thirsty.
you're just gonna leave my boy Dionysus out like that?
No love for Demeter.
Yeah, no. One of the Dionysus is one of the more thirstier gods. Demeter, not so much.
I think you got those backwards.
Fair enough. Now, this game has been talked about to death in nearly every Game of the Year discussion around 2020, and that we are not going there. That is not us. Instead, today, we're going to take the initiative and pitch Supergiant for the inevitable DLC that will be launching this game's massive success. We're going to be helping Supergiant find the new god that will be teaming up with Zagreus to take down our big bad hell daddy. They just don't know it yet.
Is this the part where I say I don't know what we're talking about? Or is later the part where I say I don't
You're
know
probably
what
going to say it
Both.
multiple times, I assume. So, if
Yeah.
you're going to do a trial run now and then fire a few more out later.
Hit us with a dry run and we'll come back to it.
I don't know what we're talking about. Thank you for allowing me that dry run.
Thanks, Matt.
I'm actually a little surprised with how much we've talked about this game amongst ourselves that you haven't picked up enough through context clues to somewhat know what we're talking about.
You know when you have a group of friends or there's a group of people who talks about something so much that it just becomes a frequency you tune out in your brain. Like,
Yeah, I grew up in Ohio and don't care about football, so
yeah,
yes.
exactly. You get it. My brain filter had the top word on that list became Hades around week 3 of everyone had already bought this game and I was still waiting to get a Nintendo gift card. And then when that Nintendo gift card came, I had already filtered out the word and I just couldn't find the game.
That's fair. Here's Matt.
Okay.
I can just help you out here. You know how in The Last of Us 2, how there's all those dad issues just like floating around?
He
But-
also doesn't know the last.
I probably would
God
if I played
fucking
The
damn
Last
it.
of Us 2.
Hey Matt, you know how in your real life you have dad issues?
Oh,
But
wow.
imagine that you
Fucking
died,
got
that
him.
you died frequently and got resurrected at the end of every day.
Oh boy.
Well, with that, to help us figure out the best pitch, I've called in expert theologians Kyle, Dragon Jesus Bahamut Harper,
That's my stage name.
Matt Pellor, the Party Santa Cole,
Love that take. That's so good.
Cousin of Dominic the Donkey.
and Todd Murder Boner Ball Thomas to put their collective heads together and figure out what the best answer can be. But because there is so much on the line here, and because clearly Matt has no idea what he's talking about, I've also called in a ringer, assuming that Matt's answers at least won't be good enough. So, everybody, please welcome Eric Primus the Toaster King Silver from Join the Party, which is a D&D real play podcast, and also creative director behind Multitude, which is, how do you guys describe Multitude, Eric?
We are a podcast collective, studio, and consultancy when we really want to help you out and want to make podcasts better instead of just like,
Awesome.
hey, maybe get Karamo in it.
That's excellent. So just a little bit behind the scenes here. So listeners at home and those of you that listen to our Patreon, so Matt and I actually met Eric's partner Amanda, who is also at Multitude and one of the Join the Party cast members, a couple back in PodCon, which we've talked lengths about now, which is basically just like our collective origin story at this point. But as kind of a follow up to that, we did a meeting with Amanda, and Amanda was actually the one who suggested to do a Patreon. So anybody who's part of the Patreon feed, one, thank you, but you can also thank Amanda and the good people at Multitude, because they've been a big help to us, and I know they've been a big help to other people. But yeah, so Eric, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Someone said Hades, and I came running. And I finally regained consciousness a few minutes
Spider
ago.
sense tingled, and
Yeah.
you just knew you had to turn on a microphone somewhere.
It's true. I blacked out and found myself in this Zoom.
Well, Eric, for those people that are like you that are just waking up from their blackout, where can they find you? Where can people find you online?
Absolutely. Well, I am the Dungeon Master of Join the Party, which is a 5th edition real play podcast, but we like taking apart D&D and making it better for stories and for podcasting. I reckon we're the most successful, best-sounding D&D podcast out there. Right now, we're in our second campaign. We're doing a modern world that's kind of like X-Men-ish. I really ripped
That's awesome.
the fucking fantasy carapace off of Dungeons and Dragons and turned it into like a modern world where an upstate New York, like Lake Town, has turned into a city the size of Portland because of a radioactive, scientific blah blah blah, which has changed the world. So there's now the capital is Lake Town City, which is like 2 hours north of Buffalo, or 2 hours to
Amazing.
the east of Buffalo. And I think it's really good, and it's fun. But you can also find me on Twitter. I'm at L_Silvero, EL_SILVERO. My name, if I was a Lucha Libre wrestler. And you can find me streaming with Amanda at House Breakfast. We're
yeah.
at twitch.tv/House Breakfast, or on Twitter at House Breakfast _.
Dang.
You've
I'm
never
impressed.
said that before.
Yeah,
I assume
never
you've
a
never
single time.
introduced yourself.
No, I have only your moms listen to my podcast.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Joke's on you. My mother doesn't support anything I'm doing, so there's that. Hey, you already checked the box for dad issues. Had to hit the mom issue.
I also want to say I didn't just talk about their moms randomly. They told me that their moms listen to their stuff.
It would have been
So-
a weird insult if it weren't otherwise done.
No, I was just totally gonna let that like sit
Yeah,
without
same.
context. So,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
all right, well, let's get this pitch started. So I want each of you to first start by introducing the god that you think should be the flagship for this new Hades DLC. Now, granted, they can be a god from ancient mythology, similar to the Greek mythology or some other kind of mythology, or fuck it, make it a currently practiced religion. Who cares? Just as long as there's some sort of god, be it little g or capital G god. Tell us a little bit about them, what boons they're going to give to Zagreus when he encounters them. Let's start with Kyle.
All right. Thank you for bringing me here today, Andrew.
Sure.
I'm here to tell you about a very good friend of mine, someone who's been with me through the good times and the bad.
I do not like where this is going.
Oh, you sure don't. I'm here to talk today about, of course, Jesus Christ. Oh, where'd that storm come from outside? So we all know at least a little about Jesus, right? Son of the Abrahamic God, walked on water, nailed to a cross, etc., etc.
Yada yada.
We are already at the part where I have to say no, this is not true. Oh, sorry, I have my good friend Abraham, who's actually the father of my religion. He said, "What's that? You think Jesus was just a regular guy? Okay, I'll tell him. Kyle, he's not. That's not the God of Abrahamic religion."
Are we not playing in the space where all the gods are real and accepted? Is that not the conceit
we're gonna throw out traditional religious doctrine and just accept everything as assumed fact?
Listen, I just want to state that I have the Jesus Wikipedia page up, so I can fact check whatever Kyle says.
I just with names like King of Kings, Lord of Lords, a little tried. I think you could have done a little bit better than that.
a little try hard?
Sorry, I just really like the old stuff. I don't read the new stuff.
You're pre-time skip, not post-time skip.
Yeah, right. This is like in Homestuck.
He
It's
stopped
like no,
after Infinity War.
All right, go ahead, go.
Well, what was that, Kyle?
We're gonna build on that, and Jesus is gonna help Zagreus escape from the underworld. Now we're gonna add to the canon here. So you asked about his boons, the boons he's gonna give to the son of Hades here. They're two sons. It's two sons helping each other out. Two guys with dad issues helping each other out. So we're gonna do everything based off New Testament passages. The passage, "It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of my father." It's going to be a boon that depletes your gold as it fills up your God gauge. And Peter went down from the boat and walked on the waters to Jesus. We've got a boon that prevents lava damage. The parable of multiplying the fishes and loaves. Got a boon for that too, guys. We're going to double the effects of all centaur hearts and pomegranates for the rest of your run. And last but not least, when you call on the aid of Christ, not only will it restore you to full health, it will also nail all the enemies on screen to a cross when it's maxed out.
Wait, excluding the last one, I can't help but feel like your argument has some real VeggieTales vibes.
Real VeggieTales vibes.
Like I'm being forced to learn about Bible passages, and I don't want to be learning.
It's too bad.
About Bible passages.
Is it weird when Jesus looks around and says, "Hey, wait a second, this isn't Christian hell, the one we've all accepted in our lives as the only"?
I get to that later. Christianity borrowed from every other religion that came before it anyway, so
it's truly the whitest religion there is.
It's not really a stretch to ram jam it here into Greek mythology.
I think it's the only religion that you have to know you're better than everyone else, because that's
part
what
of it.
That's
why
what
it's
it
the
sits
whitest
on
religion.
exclusively. Like,
Yeah.
no, you're wrong, and let me tell you why you're wrong.
Which is why it's the best answer to bring to this podcast, honestly.
So we're not going to go here, but just to go there for a second. So I know at least three of the five of us grew up going to youth groups with a heavy dose of summer Jesus camps. So, my own personal experience was you got to fight back against all the people who are trying to take away your religion. So that affects me in a certain way. I'd like to push past that trauma, though. Go ahead.
I had that same thing too when people asked me, "How do you spell Hanukkah? And what is Hanukkah? And why don't you celebrate Christmas?" and get out of here, Jew.
8 nights of presents. That sounds rad.
Uh, boy, howdy. Religion's really fucked up our world, huh? Hey, Matt, why don't you go next?
Andrew, why have you done this to us?
This is like the fourth time we've talked about religion on this podcast, and
Yeah, but the first time was the
The god of rock.
the fire emblem was a god or something.
no,
like
it was the giant death whale who.
Oh,
murders
that's right. And I
everybody
did
in
I did
space.
the floating hand that controls the
Mhm.
giant monster. That's right.
Yeah.
Listen, this one is truly on me. I'm feeling really juiced about this because I wrote this article that's coming out this Thursday about how there's like deeply embedded anti-Semitism in Dungeons and Dragons, and I've done
Oh,
like a
shit.
ton of the research on it. And then I did another podcast, like a guested on one of our podcasts, A Multitude, about Harry Potter, about how the goblins are pretty much explicitly Jews in Harry Potter. So like I'm very
Yeah.
juiced on this. So like I have all these like deep-seated like fantasy feelings.
I
That's, like-
only learned this year
Yeah.
that the lizard people control the Illuminati meme theory joke
Meme.
is deeply related and is deeply seated in anti-Semitism as well.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I think
not
just-
surprising.
everything is anti-Semitic. I think just everything's anti-Semitic.
Mostly. Everything except for Mel Brooks is anti-Semitic. Sorry, guys. But
That's
here's a
good
fun
rule of
fact.
life.
Here's a fun fact. Gary Gygax was so Christian. How Christian was he?
There it is.
Yeah.
Gary Gygax was so Christian, he didn't celebrate Christmas because Jesus.
Oh,
Like,
so he's like Jehovah's Witness, Chris.
Not even that.
Christian.
Okay.
Like, he was just so Christian that, like, and he was one of those guys who was like, I'm going to look at the texts and read them. And we're like, okay, Gary,
Oh,
that's fine.
That's
Got
like
it.
vegans who won't eat honey. Anyway, let's talk
Yeah.
about Hades. So,
yeah.
have I made it clear that I've never played this game? Because I've literally never played this game.
You've mentioned it once or
yeah,
twice.
yeah. So I've never played this game. I've never even
Sure.
So
seen this.
you've
game.
played this game like once or twice?
Yeah, no, I've never played this game. I've just never played this game. So again, if I can say it one more time, I don't know shit about dick when it comes to Hades. However, I know maybe 4 out of 10 about Egyptian mythical god
Let's
Osiris,
go.
and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, you know that meme format that's all like wrong neighborhood, motherfucker? Well, imagine you're Zagreusing your way out of ancient Greek hell, and all of a sudden, wrong underworld, motherfucker. Enter Osiris, judge of the living and king of the dead of the Egyptian pantheon. And if I can just stop for a minute and note how rad a title judge
Hell
of
yeah.
the living and king of the dead is.
Yeah,
Better
it's
than
fucking
Lord of
metal.
Lords.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have seen metal albums with worse names than that. So anyway, Osiris has one of the wildest histories, but is easily one of the most badass gods of Egypt, and his boons will be no different. I think that I am using these words correctly. Osiris is the god of resurrection, so you have your classic call boon of resurrection. You just, you come
Yeah.
back to life, but you also have a special boon, flood, where just as Osiris floods the river Nile every season, you flood the room that you're in and you wipe the room of enemies. And fans of the MCU may think that Osiris's dash boon is an Infinity War reference, but it actually calls back to the second death of Osiris when he was cut to pieces and reassembled later by his wife to be resurrected.
Oh,
This boon will cause Zagreus to fall apart into fun little cubes you can roll around the map and reassemble somewhere else.
That's incredible.
This sounds like my dad trying to talk to me about Pokemon. Like you've got
Yeah.
some of the right
Mhm.
parts in the right places, but other parts are very off base.
Yeah, so if you have any questions about Osiris, I'd love to answer them for you. If you have any questions about Hades, I've got nothing.
What I appreciate is the idea that like Osiris got all chopped up and he's like, the wife. And then he got rid of women, right?
Dude, it's wild. So like Osiris marries his sister, right? Because they're only like 5 gods. They're all born from the sun and the earth.
Yeah,
Whatever,
classic.
doesn't matter. Yep. So Osiris marries his sister. Osiris's brother marries the other sister. And then other sister is like, but Osiris is hotter than you. Gets impregnated by Osiris. So brother's like, I'm going to kill him. Makes a coffin for him. Locks him in the coffin. Sends the coffin down the Nile River. Coffin gets stuck in a tree. Tree grows around coffin. Emperor cuts down tree, turns it into a pillar of his castle. Original sister shows up and is like, "That's my husband in that tree." Takes the tree, takes the coffin back to a bog. Goes to make a poison to resurrect the husband. Brother shows back up and is like, "I thought you were in a coffin." Cuts the brother into pieces, scatters him throughout the universe. Sister's like, "No, still want that guy." Reassembles the pieces like a set of Legos, snaps her fingers. He comes back to life. They immediately bone and have a child. That's the story of Osiris.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that would be awesome if this was a Egyptian's God episode of the show and
Kyle,
not a
come on,
Hades episode of the show.
Shut up, man. I have one thing here.
Matt, it sounded like you just pitched an action movie in the 1980s. You're just like,
Yeah, and I
you're
watched
like,
that
you're like,
movie.
here, I need to lay out my cocaine. All right, so here's what fucking's gonna happen. Fucking Osiris, right? Fucking legend in a fucking tree. And
He's built into a pillar, but we take that pillar to a bog.
and then Marty McFly shows up, and he's just like, what's happening to you?
Eric, I'll do you one better. I think he just pitched a modern day HBO show. Is what it is.
It's going to be a 4-part miniseries. Each part is 3 hours, and you have to watch them all to get the whole story. Zack Snyder is directing.
Each
It'll be on
episode has
HBO
the same
Max.
cocaine budget as an 80s movie, though. So
If it was on Quibi, now Roku owns it, so there you go.
Yeah, we have the same cocaine budget as an 80s movie and the same writers as a 1999 Korn album. So I'm ready to go.
Awesome. All right. Well, speaking of cocaine budgets, Todd, what's your god?
Well,
Who is
As
your
possi-
god now, Todd?
well, okay. So as possibly the only other person here that's fought our shitty hell dad nearly 100 times, Andrew, I think I know what you're actually looking for today. So we're gonna reach
Do you-
real deep into the Greek lore to bring you Hecate, the 3-headed goddess of the mists, of witchcraft, of boundaries, of magic, and of ghosts. She's just the god of everything.
I am not going to let you get away with this whole podcast
Boundaries.
saying Hecate and not
Hecate.
Hecate. It's
I-
Hecate.
Yeah.
I heard
Hecate?
Hecate, I heard Hecate, I heard a way worse
Isn't it
pronunciation of
Hecate?
it.
Hecate?
No, it is not Hecate. I can tell you that one.
Yeah, get him, Matt.
Yeah.
Get him, Matt.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Todd.
My
Get 'em.
favorite show, John and Hecate +8.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, today I will be saying Hecate. One, because I think Matt's wrong, and two, because that's how I've got it written out phonetically in my notes. So the point being that Hecate is exactly the ancient Greek goddess that Zagreus would need in this sort of DLC expansion. So, and also it's important to note, since magic and hexes are obviously all the rage right now with Scarlet Witch being in the news, we're gonna capitalize off of that search engine optimization. Anyway, she's the ideal choice, as she's going to offer this like dark magic based boons that we don't really have yet to Zagreus. So it could be, like the ability to cause life drain with dark mist that she controls, or adding extended teleportation to his dash, or maybe she gives him the ability to temporarily raise death of the things that he killed around him using her call. But the big point here is that Hecate is the witchcraft and the death and the oh so very on-brand Hades sex appeal that the gamers, and more specifically the grown-ass adult men, are going to be looking for in this game. She is to the T what this game needs.
Are you trying to capture all the Resident Evil 8 village step on me giant
Yes.
vampire
Oh.
women? Yeah.
he's getting
That energy.
that and the Hex the Moon TikTok crowd as well is what
Nice.
he's going for.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Eric, I did not think about that, but now that you've said it, it was very subliminal. It was not intentional, but gigantic vampire dom lady is in my mind, and I want her to step on me.
He hasn't been able to stop thinking about her for about a week either, is
Yeah.
what he's trying to say.
Just for context, Todd still hasn't gotten over Bowsette yet.
That was like 2 or 3 weeks ago that we last talked about it.
Well, yeah, but now Todd has been talking about Bowsette's fury, and it's been a whole thing.
I, for one, welcome our giant vampire queen. But the point being, Hecate is she's just a good choice. She's a good, solid
Okay.
choice. She's not a bad choice like these other 2 bad choices, and probably a forthcoming also bad choice from Eric.
Okay. So we've got Hecate stepping on us.
Not
Eric,
Hecate. That's wrong.
Eric, who's gonna
Hecate
be?
Middleton.
Who do you want to be stepping on us?
Oh, boys. I'm so glad that you pulled me here. I'm happy to say that the real god that is going to be in the Hades DLC is not going to be any one of these modern gods. We've already introduced the fact that we can look into the future in Hades. I've also killed my dad 150 times, and also I've played Hades a decent amount. But I would love to talk about the ever-present god in our current age, capitalism.
Oh fuck!
And capitalism is going to be. It actually fits really well. This is
What a
called
cruel god it is.
This is already dark.
I want to name my DLC because I have an inner World of Warcraft world builder that needs to come out. This is the All That Glitters DLC. Here's the thing.
Fantastic.
Thank
Good.
you.
That's
Here's
really
the thing about capitalism actually fits because Hades, you can tell it's very opulent and rich inside because the Greeks and the Romans believed that money and jewels comes from under the ground, which is underground, which is Hades' domain. So we can build on top of that. So let's call whoever we're talking about Pluto, who is your dad Hades' doppelganger or something like that. I don't know. There's a lot of different types of money. Pluto is the Roman version of Hades. So just follow me on that.
Got it.
Sure.
But we're gonna put a pin. in
We
what-
knew that. It was good for clarifying it for the listeners. Though.
Yeah.
Helpful.
Matt is just shaking his head and be like, I've been reading mythology books since I was 9. You guys fucking need to come on my level. I'm including a bunch of different stuff. If I'm going to buy a DLC, I know Supergiant is going to give it to me. There's a totally new arcade mode called the Colosseum. It's a boss rush. You fight Pericles, who has his golden helmet on, but you also fight other Homeric heroes like Jason and Flamma, who was actually so known in the Roman Colosseum that he rejected freedom 4 times, and his face was put on a Roman coin. You also get to fight Hercules, which is teased so much in the game, and he never shows up. Matt, he's teased a lot in the game, but he never shows up.
Cool. Thank you, Eric. I really
No
needed
problem.
that. I appreciate it.
But it would also be fun to fight other people who are on money. So we're fighting goddamn Abe Lincoln and Gandhi.
I've been wanting to fight Abe Lincoln for years.
So I know.
For all my Civilization fans out there, yes, Gandhi is coming at you fast, furious.
With that
and
hoops, baby.
Yeah, and finally, we have a boss fight against Pluto where he becomes the invisible hand of the market, and you're fighting a classic a video game trope of big hand, one eye.
Yes! Big hand, 2 eyes!
And when you
Oh.
win, I actually wanted to add a weapon in as well. You get the Golden Lasso, which is both a long and short range weapon where you can pull someone in, beat them up, but also swing them around and hit things around. But let's just talk about the boons because that's all extra shit that I made up. And here's the actual question that you asked me. That the boons, Pluto then replaces Hermes when you win the Colosseum, and you switch out all the speed stuff that Hermes does and just focuses on the money stuff.
Good.
I actually took for my favorite roguelike. I love Welcome to the Gungeon. I've played 400 hours of it. It is incredible. And they've come up with so much shit under the sun.
That was my only roguelike that I super got into before Hades.
It
love
is
that
so
game.
goofy and so pop culture inspired that I feel like if they're going to do a DLC, they need to go in a different way. So we can take something like the Sack of Coins, which is where enemies drop more money, but you also drop money when you get hit. They have a microtransaction gun in Welcome to the Gungeon where you shoot your money, and I think you could do that with in Hades. We call that the magic transaction, where your spell attack is more powerful in exchange for 1 money per shot. And now you get an exchange with Sharon, or Charon, or however the fuck you say it.
Yeah,
You can-
Sharon from HR.
Yeah, Sharon is there, who never speaks and just groans at you under their big hat. And you can sell your boons there for 70% of what you would usually get at the end of a level.
Nice.
So Eric's played Hades before.
Yes, I
Sure
have.
has. A
But
couple
Matt
times.
hasn't, right?
Right.
is that the
Is
through line?
everyone on the same page? Real quick, I do want to unpack. You brought up the big hands, 1 eye trope in video games because it's one of my personal favorites, and I think it is the perfect boss because we gonna do with them hands. Any notes?
I'm sorry, I overprepared, guys.
No, you prepared just the right amount.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of stuck on Zagreus. with Abraham Lincoln facing him down, cracking his knuckles, saying like, "Let's do this," and Zagreus just gets to beat the tar out of him.
Well, he has one fist, which is emancipation, and the other fist, which is
Yeah, I do have a question though. The Queen of England is on money. Do you fight Queen Elizabeth in this game?
You do now.
That would actually be really interesting. I was thinking about that. Have you guys played Arkham Asylum before?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel that she functions in a similar way that the Penguin does. As the Penguin unleashes Solomon Grundy, the Queen unleashes a massive mutated Prince Charles.
Are you trying to suggest that Queen Elizabeth is a puzzle boss, Eric?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Are you coming on my podcast and saying that Queen Elizabeth is a puzzle boss? All right.
I'm coming on your podcast and saying that Cobblepot should have been one of the houses in the crown.
All right. Well, let's move on here. So, as everyone here, excluding Matt, knows,
Thank you.
the fun. You're welcome. The fun of Hades gameplay is mixing different boons together to create some, stupidly overpowered build to break the game. And the best way to do that is finding the dual boons that, basically multiply the effects of all the powers you already have. So, what's that game-breaking dual boon that you can make with your chosen god and then one from the base game? Kyle.
All right. So, as I said before, Christianity has borrowed, quote unquote, from a lot of the religions that preceded it. So there were a lot of actually good options to pair Jesus Christ with Greek god, because Christianity aped a lot of Greek mythology when they were laying some things out.
Your verbs are so telling, Kyle. I love how. We just aped it. We thought it was neat.
It's very. I just think this is neat.
I'm just thinking of the meme. I'm just thinking of the meme of Marge with like a Pope hat on, holding up like any other religion, and just being like, "I just think it's neat," and then she crushes it in her hand.
But the obvious pairing in this game about daddy issues was making the best boon be with the Greek version of God the Father. So we all know that the idea of God being a buff old man with flowing robes and a long white beard just comes from the imagery of Zeus, right? Because it does.
Because he was voiced by Rip Torn.
Because he was voiced by Rip Torn. So this dual boon is going to get the most famous father and son team back together in the Wrath of God boon. So if you have an offensive Zeus boon and the Aid of Christ boon, you have a chance to later unlock the Wrath of God. Wrath of God is going to add even more damage to your attacks with a higher percentage based on how full your God gauge is, which is boring. There are other boons that do that. You want the Wrath of God, not just like the light annoyance of God. That's why when you have the Wrath of God boon equipped and have to use a Death's Defiance, it also board wipes and just kills any non-boss enemy on the field.
I've only got one note, Kyle. When you said 8 of God, I thought you said 8 of God, and my reaction was internally to say go fish.
Get out of here.
Can we kick Todd off the call?
Yeah.
It's Todd's Zoom meeting. We can't.
Yeah, I own this.
Yeah.
All right. Matt, what's your dual boon?
So here's the thing, right? Is like the key to really min-maxing the Osiris boon is to get your Demeter boons. I'm using Hades.
You're good
words.
so far. You're
Okay,
good so
great.
far.
Cool. So
Say boon more.
Boone. Daniel Boone. Okay, so Demeter has this boon that, according to the Gamepedia, hades.gamepedia.com/Demeter, tells me is called Mistral Dash, and your dash shoots a gust ahead that inflicts chill, right? And chill sounds like a cool thing that is probably helpful. And so remember, the Osiris dash is that you fall into a bunch of fun little cubes and roll all around the map. And so instead of just one Mistral gust that goes straight in front of you when you dash, imagine you fall to pieces and Mistral dash, Mistral chill. You chill in all the directions. It's like you just become a bunch of little ice cubes and zip all over the place, and you freeze everybody, and then you play the game more. You play more game.
Matt, the childlike wonder your brain to this episode.
Just want to pat him on the head.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. There's a thing in D&D how like you should embrace new players because they've never played before. Like they'll do anything. And I think that this is really what Matt is doing, is that like we're expanding our idea of Hades.
Well, and like, I mean, I was like, nah, this is dumb. Then you said breaks into cubes. I'm like, nah, still dumb. Oh, but they're ice cubes. I go, I was that
Yeah.
gif of the woman drinking like a LaCroix for
Kombucha?
the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah, kombucha,
yeah.
that's what it was. And she's like, no, maybe.
Yeah, you brought us back on that with the ice cubes.
Matt, like 9/10 of those words were right.
Hey,
Yeah, you did good.
that's a victory.
You got there.
I read, so much like when we did the Final Fantasy pick a buddy to take to school or whatever the hell that episode
summon.
was. Yeah, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to the Final Fantasy Wikipedia and I'm gonna learn Final Fantasy. And I got like a scroll down and was like, all right, nope, I'm out. I had the same
Final
experience
Fantasy.
with Hades where I was like, I'm gonna like dig into this game because it's new. There can't be that much for me to learn. But I think it's become so densely popular so quick that it's just like, you got to learn a whole other language to play this game, or
Yeah.
buy it for $30 in the eShop and play it for a day. And I wasn't going to do either of those things. So here we are.
I like when you admit that you're like, well, I was gonna put in some work, but not a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna be very
there's-
clear about the amount of work I will put in.
It's the effort versus ease scale, you know? Like, I'll put in effort when that effort is easy, but as soon
Yeah.
as that effort becomes a little difficult, I back out.
Boons.
Boons?
Todd, why don't you give us Hecate, Picante's dual boons?
Hecate.
Hey, yeah, can I get a whiskey soda and like 2 Hecates, please?
Hecate's, yeah.
Thank you.
So Hecate's rad. She's a super cool Greek goddess. She actually does have like some Greek mythology lore because they've all been in relationships and experienced each other in different ways. Where she helped Demeter. And so at first I thought that, I would do a duo boon with Demeter where she's just like wrecking everything around you in this like strangling dark frozen mist, and that would be pretty cool. But we're gonna do one better because Demeter duo boons are overdone and no one likes them. So Hecate
Whoa, hold on.
is
That was
as
a really
sorry,
good
my
thing to
turn.
say.
Hecate is as resentful as she is powerful, right? So this is like real lore to her. In her story, she's been known to transform fallen enemies that she fights into animal companions that serve her. So when Hecate pairs with our favorite sassy hunter, Artemis, Hecate has a chance to transform enemy minions into this like dark shadow animal companion for the duration of the room encounter that you're in.
Yeah.
And an ability that I'm
Holy
calling
shit.
Cutting Revenge. And the best part about this is that it finally gives us players what we've wanted since day one, which is the ability to summon a companion. And you get it because you transform someone into an animal companion under your service. It's rad. That's real lore. She turned the woman during the fall of Troy into a panther that had to serve her. Super cool,
That's cool. Mythology's so cool.
right?
Todd, I don't want to burst your bubble, but capitalism also transforms all of us into servants that have to follow what they say.
Yeah, but not
Yeah.
cool animal servants. Just
Yeah.
sad,
Yeah.
sad
Yeah,
shambling ones.
Abraham Lincoln never turned anyone into a puma.
Yeah.
Yeah. To
That's
go
the
with
difference between sorcery and necromancy.
yeah, I'm just a
Wait,
sad.
was Abraham Lincoln a sorcerer or a necromancer? I'm not
Well,
following.
the capitalism making soulless servants was the necromancy that I was going
Ah,
for. So
got
I
it.
guess Abraham Lincoln is a necromancer.
I mean,
What I love about Andrew is that he said, "Oh, forget all the shit Eric said earlier. Abraham Lincoln is his god."
yeah, I took what I wanted. Okay, Eric,
I kind of like the new podcast canon that Abraham Lincoln's a necromancer. So, I mean, there was Abraham
Put it on the
Lincoln
wiki.
Vampire Hunter. That was a movie.
Yeah.
It was a book first.
No, it was a movie to me.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln Necromancer is my nickname. None of you idiots take it.
all right, Eric, what is tell us how Abraham Lincoln uses his necromancy powers and his dual boons specifically about capitalism.
Got it. So he raises dead, and no, here's what I'm talking about. So Pluto is in there when you watch Pluto for Hermes. Then you have the ability to do two. I came up with 2 different ones. The first one is similar to another one from Gungeon. It's called Golden Strike. It is Zeus and Pluto together. when you use your god power, your damage increases by 10% for every 100 coins you have. So you could just be wrecking absolute shop when you're balling. And just like Zeus, you're doing it to impress women. And unlike Zeus, you're not forcing yourself on them by being a goose or golden rain.
Good. Yep.
That's the right energy.
Thank you. The other one that Amanda inspired in me, because she is the business one. She's the CEO of Multitude. When I told her I was doing this, she was like, "Oh, you need to do something with a monopoly. Like, that would be perfect. It's like they own all the thing." And I'm like, "Oh, that's terrifying. I can't believe that was the first thing you thought of." So
That might be the darkest thing.
Yeah.
Cold chill went down my spine. Eric goes, "Whew."
Ugh, I don't like it. So the duo boon when you work with Poseidon, because then it's about shipping, and with water travel, which is also what they thank you, commerce, which is what Poseidon, you prayed to Poseidon that he would not get mad at you and eat your boat. So that would be called monopolize, where every time you do a higher level bonus, so you get a Daedalus hammer or one of those other ones that aren't just like coins and magic, you also get a pomegranate, because you monopolize the pomegranate trade, and you just kind of get them all in, and no one else gets pomegranates. No, they are all mine.
Very good.
I bought them. There's no Dodd-Frank here in that was an economics joke that went over my head. That was too
I was
much.
a communications major, so
Also
There you
that,
go.
yes.
Music. So yeah, economics. What?
yeah.
I hate love politics, so I know what you're talking about.
There you go.
Business majors, get at us. All right, real quick, clarifying one point. Matt, a pomegranate is what you use to upgrade your abilities in the Hades.
Okay. I was like, is this motherfucker really about to explain to me what a pomegranate is? I'm eating a pomegranate, Andrew.
No, Matt, you eat the
excellent.
seeds. Stop biting it, Matt. Please stop.
Jeez. Oh boy.
The skin's the tough skin's the best part.
All right. Well, gameplay aside, there's one more facet to what makes Hades such a great entity that we haven't yet talked about. We touched on it. Guys, we need each god to be just an absolute thirst trap.
Yeah.
So this might be arguably the most important piece about this. So tell me what your god looks like normally. I guess didn't realize there'd be as intangible as the idea of capitalism, but here we are.
Wait,
Oh yeah, because
wait,
gods
wait.
look like things, right? Andrew.
Andrew, can you answer this question for me? Which one of our gods is more tangible than the idea of capitalism?
You know what's a really good question. I'll come back to you on that.
Thank you.
We'll circle back.
Yep. All right. You'll tell me what your god looks like normally, or your famous depictions of, and then walk through in excruciating detail how you're going to make them super hot. Remember to make it horny. We're gonna start with you, Kyle.
All right. So you guys have all seen a crucifix, right? Like Jesus doesn't
It's a weird
really
start.
need my help to get any hotter. He's got that 8-pack that any Marvel actor would kill for. He's got those veiny arms that Hugh Jackman dehydrates himself every 5 years to get. Like, Jesus is cut. But you want me to get horny for Jesus? We'll get horny for Jesus. Man, that storm's getting real close. So first of all, he's going to be jacked. Just traps for days. Biceps, pecs, just chiseled out of stone.
Fucking Kyle gets on for TikTok for 6 days, and this is what we get. It's been a week.
Second, his outfit. He's just going to have on that loincloth and a halo, and then his nice full beard and his long flowing hair, and just really showing off that chiseled bod. And then his attitude, his dialogue and attitude. Jesus' whole thing is everybody loves everybody. And
Full
if that
innuendos.
isn't
Lot
and
of
if that
innuendos.
isn't some 70s like sex guru shit, I don't know what is. And then telling his followers to eat of his body and drink his blood, take the horniest possible interpretation of that. I think we'll get there. I think we'll make this horny enough for Hades.
Horny enough for Hades is the campaign DLC title.
I have
Horny for
not
Hades.
actively gone to church in like almost 10 years, and I'm still a little uncomfy.
Yeah,
like,
that
I'm
one
just
felt
feeling
bad.
a little gross.
My skin is crawling.
I didn't feel great writing or saying that just now, and I'm with you, Matt. So,
Yeah.
Oof. Oof.
Specifically, the feeling that I feel right now is I feel like I did when I was in middle school and I was in summer Bible camp, and our camp counselors told us that we had to listen to that Aerosmith song, "Give Me Your Heart, Make It Real," and pretend that it was Jesus saying that to us. That's a true story. None of that was a bit.
That's not an Aerosmith song, Andrew.
Or what did I say? Aerosmith.
That's Carlos Santana.
It's
Isn't it?
Santana.
I was
It's
like,
Rob
Carlos
Thomas
Mencia.
featuring Santana.
Yeah, you know what I meant.
Rob
It's all the
Thomas,
same.
long hair could look like Jesus, though.
Yeah, Rob Thomas, Carlos Santina.
Get out.
Here's the difference.
Hecate.
Go ahead, Eric.
Here's the difference between Christian summer camp and Jewish summer camp. In Christian summer
I
camp,
can imagine one big one.
Yeah, it was that one. Well, the biggest one, honestly, is that Carlos Santana is speaking to you in the words of Jesus. But Jewish summer camp is truly put together to get Jews to hook up and eventually marry each other to create more Jews.
It's what they did before J-Date was a real thing.
No, they work in tandem, Todd. They work in tandem.
Brought to you by the same people that created Jewish summer camp.
Christianity's not too different than that, but for the first 18 years, they tell you to suppress all sexual
can't
desire.
at all.
It's like how you can't get a PS5 right now, so like everyone's gonna want to get a PS5, and people are gonna pay like $1,000 for a PS5. Same idea.
Well, but 18 years and 1 day later, you can get married, and 18 years and 2 days later, you can make a family.
And 3 days later, you're behind the curve, and you waited too long, and
Yeah.
you're gonna die
And
alone.
you're like, why did I buy this PS5? All I have is Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I could have just played this on my PS4. Matt, your turn.
Yeah, okay, so this is the one question I came prepared to answer today. So let's go back to that myth I was talking about with Osiris, when like he was in a coffin in a tree and a pillar for a little while. Irrelevant.
You know.
So
As you do.
yeah, Osiris's brother comes, chops him into a bunch of pieces, distributes those pieces across the world. His wife, Isis, much like the main characters of Dragon Ball, go and collect the Dragon Balls and put them back together and work to summon her husband. But the thing is she's missing one piece. And literally in Egyptian mythology, the one piece of Osiris that his wife can't find is his penis.
Is the giant treasure the Pirate King hid and everyone's searching for? We talked about that last week, Andrew.
Yeah,
Or
okay.
Matt.
So here's the thing, right? Is that like, she puts her husband back together and wants to resurrect him, but can't resurrect him because his body isn't whole because, again, she cannot find his penis. And so she just replaces it with a 2x4, like a giant piece of wood, and then resurrects her husband, and then they immediately bone and pop out a child. And this, I'm not
Sweet.
making this up. Like, this is as real as Andrew's Aerosmith song. So...
Matt, would you say that Osiris's wife said, "Give me your dick, make it real, or else forget about it"?
I want you to remember that you said that quote on a podcast forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Silver from Join the Party. Go check
All right,
out
I'll see you later, guys. Thanks for having me on. Just follow me on Twitter at El Severo. See you later.
Join the party.
Gives a whole new meaning to sporting wood for sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's a
okay.
lot of puns to be made here.
Right. There's a lot. So giant 2x4 penis aside, here's the deal, right? Like, Osiris is already talked about in Egyptian mythology as like a thirst trap of a god. He is a gaunt, dark-skinned man who is like kind of mummy, but also kind of a pharaoh. And so
He's Johnny Depp.
I wouldn't go with Johnny Depp. That's uncomfy. I don't like that. So in this game, you are going to have a like partially mummified, just like a sexy Egyptian mixer freshman year of college, mummified Osiris with an abusively large bulge down one leg, and it's gonna be wrapped. Like it's gonna be tasteful. It's gonna be just enough bulge
Sure,
to
tasteful
really
bulge.
make you want to find somebody who cosplays Osiris. But it's gonna be a lot of bulge, like 2x4 wood bulge.
I keep thinking the bulge is gonna be rectangular, and I can't
Yep.
stop
Yeah.
laughing.
Yep,
It
same.
is shaped like a coffin.
No, he was in a coffin. This is just shaped like wood.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
But
makes it
it's
better.
gonna look like he's got a 2x4 like shoved down one of his pant legs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Todd.
Yeah.
Tell us about
Um,
Hecate.
Yeah, Hecate.
Hecate Winslet.
Yeah.
So in all like the images
Kate
and
Blanchett.
get out of here.
Hecate McKinnon, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the best. That's the best one. So Hecate, she's normally portrayed as this like paler skinned woman with dark black hair, and like she gives off that Hot Topic salesperson vibe. Only she has 3 faces with one on either side of her body, kind of like the Grand Tribunal in the Marvel Universe, if that does it for you. So she also typically has these like shadow black snakes that slither all around her, not unlike the Britney Spears "I'm a Slave for You" music video. So like with all these things involved,
I'm
involved,
feeling a lot of feelings today.
Yeah.
she's already checking absolutely half of the boxes for every demographic. That's just we're there. And anyway, since Hades
Todd did the science.
yeah, did that. We talked to the nerds in R&D. They told us. Anyway, as we talked about in the prompt for this question, Hades is all about making things deeply sexy, like unsettlingly sexy. So we can get even sexier and weirder. So other depictions of Hecate involve her not as having like 3 faces, but 3 full bodies, just kind of like standing near each other. So exactly what I described above, but now it's 3 of her. So that's 3 pale-skinned, dark-haired, goth, Hot Topic checkout persons, snake ladies, hanging out, just kind of close together. Now, I understand that may not have sold it for you, so I've got one more
No,
for
I'm
you.
completely sold. This is already my
No, there's
waifu.
more. Because, again, deeply, unsettlingly sexy. If you're not on board yet, there's yet another depiction of her, where it's all those things above, but it's generations of a woman. It's a young lady, a lady of motherly age, and an older, more mature woman, if you will, a more seasoned woman. So I think we're going to go with that one. That's the one. So it's 3 generations of sexy goth women, 2 of which half-born children. And they've got the snakes all flowing around, and there's an air of mystery. And they're also very down to get weird sexy with Zag all at once. So Zagreus and Hecate are about to jump into a little menage a trois.
Todd really didn't want to. I have 2 things. Todd really didn't want to say MILF, so I'll say MILF for Todd.
There we
I'll
go.
say that.
And 2, Todd
good
really
friend.
just told on himself that he spent all his high school allowance at Hot Topic because he had a crush on the Hot Topic checkout girl.
That was my next question: is how unimpressed is she while I am buying graphic tees at the Hot Topic?
Graphic tees and bracelets with like rivets
Mhm.
on them. Yeah.
She wouldn't make eye contact with me when I bought my Invader Zim t-shirt. That unimpressed.
So which one of the Hecates is wearing a Good Charlotte t-shirt? Which one is wearing a My Chemical Romance t-shirt? And which one is, this is a
Important
shout out to Hot Topic Now, wearing a My Hero Academia?
It's gonna be the youngest one is My Hero. What I would say it's probably like My Hero, Blink-182, Rolling Stones is
got
probably
it.
like
Oh,
the
I was
3
thinking
might
like
go
Ozzy
with.
Osbourne.
Ozzy
Or the
Osbourne's the better
Ramones,
answer
yeah.
for the top
Aerosmith.
one.
Aerosmith
Yeah.
is a good one. Yeah.
For the
Misfits.
seasoned.
Did you say Aerosmith,
Hecate.
Andrew? Get the hell out.
You gonna talk more about Carlos Santana today?
Guys,
Carlos Santana, the lead singer of Aerosmith.
guys, this is a hot one.
That's what I brought you today. Who really knows how to say 4 in French? Because I stumbled through that at the end.
You sure did.
It's menage a cat. It's cat with an R. That's phonetically what it told me.
Future Kyle and Matt, please make sure to add an extra dead air after he says that. Thank you.
Yep, got it.
Or the YouTube clip that I've listened to 8 times of how to
Alright.
pronounce it. And
Eric,
now
your
I'm
turn.
wrong.
Eric, you talk now.
I'm
Make
here. It's-
Abraham Lincoln horny.
I got it. All right. Now here's the thing. We already know 2 of the forms. We have like this doppelganger of Hades as Pluto, and we have Andrew, which is already super hot to Andrew, which is big hand, one eye. But
Yeah,
I
done.
think that for other people, we need to have a hot version. And the only person I could think of is you guys remember in The Big Short when they had to explain finance terms to you, and then they were
Yes.
like, you know what? Let's just cut to Margot Robbie in a bubble bath. And I think that that's just what it is. Like half the time it's like doppelganger, it's something good, but all of a sudden then it's just like Margot. It's like as ever close to a fan art of Margot Robbie could be. Just putting it in there, golden tub, golden bubbles, a butler from off screen coming in and giving champagne, and then she explains to you what a credit default swap is. And that sounds good to me.
That's really funny.
That is good. Very, very good.
That's excellent.
Very good and fine.
We can all say bubble bath.
Bubble bath. From like the
Maya
hormone
Rudolph
monster.
in-
Yeah.
Now, this is an important question for you, Eric. This might seal the deal. Is the giant hand and eyes wearing a Good Charlotte t-shirt or a Blink-182 t-shirt? Or My Hero
Is it
Academia?
unimpressed with me?
That's an important part of
Yeah.
it. The unimpressed.
Yeah, you
look on
come up
the
to the
face.
counter, you put down your Invader Zim t-shirt, and the eye rolls.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, I'm all hot and bothered, so I think we need to take a break. But before we do that, I'm going to reveal the super secret bonus question, which is, as I pull up my notes. Okay, so we talked about the gameplay, we talked about the inherent horniness. One other aspect to Hades, sound design and the voice acting specifically.
Good.
Voice acting in Hades, very, very good. Supergiant has always had a really good, had the ability to bring on some really good external voice talent, and they've got some really great in-house talent, both at the soundtrack and the voice acting. So, to carry along those high expectations, tell me who's going to provide the voice acting for each of your gods, and we will answer that question when we return from the break.
Hi, I'm Eric,
I'm Amanda.
and we are House Breakfast, your new favorite Twitch stream that you should definitely be following.
Here's the thing. You can eat breakfast anytime, and we want everybody to know that. And you can also play video games in a low-stakes, fun way with a really wholesome chat every Tuesday and Saturday.
We're partners in life, love, and podcasting, and that now includes streaming, because everyone needs to learn how to stream in 2021.
But playing games that we played on our N64 and PlayStation 2 and GameCube is soothing, and I think the one thing that might make all of this just kind of slightly better.
We really like Pokemon and Mario. You're just going to have to deal with that.
So find us at twitch.tv/housebreakfast.
And follow us on Twitter at housebreakfast_. House Breakfast, because you can eat breakfast anytime. That was pretty, I like that.
I like that too. Good job. Good job.
All right, we're back. The super secret bonus question is, again, just to repeat, who is going to be the voice acting talent behind each of your gods? So we will start with Kyle.
We are looking for a voice to play Jesus. We are looking for so I went with someone with experience and someone who we all know oozes sex appeal. And that is why I have cast Ewan McGregor to play Jesus in this Hades DLC.
Okay.
He has played the role before in The Last Days in Desert, apparently. But more importantly, it's Ian McGregor, baby. Just we're getting him in our game.
All right.
That's all I got.
Any notes? All right.
I like Ewan McGregor, so yeah.
Yeah, I
right.
agree. I don't know how I feel about the Ewan McGregor oozes sex appeal. Like I don't know that I'm there with you, but I'll cede.
Have you ever seen Moulin Rouge?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm in.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's my answer. Matt.
Yeah. So, like I said, Osiris is going to ooze sex appeal as a tall, gaunt, dark-skinned god. So we need a tall, gaunt, dark-skinned god to voice Osiris, and that'll be none other than American actor, rapper, singer, songwriter, screenwriter, and film producer of Hamilton fame, Daveed Diggs. Daveed Diggs is gonna voice Osiris in this DLC that I'm not gonna win, but that's what we're gonna do.
Incredible choice.
Thank
Extra
you.
points to Matt.
That's really good. Todd.
Yeah, so we need someone who can talk the talk, but can also walk the walk. So we really want someone who looks the part, not just sounds the part. And that means we need an actress who can play the same role as that person being 20, being 40, being 60 years old. And really someone who can just absolutely kill the pale-skinned, dark-haired role. And so we're going to bring in Helena Bonham Carter. So you may know her Bellatrix Lestrange, Mrs. Lovett from Sweeney Todd. Like she just nails it.
Wife of Johnny Depp in every Johnny Depp
Yes.
Screen
motion
wife
feature
of Johnny
film.
Depp.
Yeah.
Except was she was not the wife of Johnny Depp in Les Mis. That was she was the
Sacha
wife
Baron
of
Cohen.
Yep, Sacha Baron Cohen.
Because Johnny
So-
Depp wasn't it. Okay.
Well, can your sentence and my sentence coexist?
No.
Todd, you're really leaning into this hot topic thing, and I'm worried about you.
I don't have a response for you, Eric.
That's fair. That's okay. All right.
Sometimes you just got to work through some stuff.
Everyone, get Todd Misfits t-shirts.
Give me some ear gauges, even though I don't have gauged ears.
Eric, who's going to be bringing your Nightmare Before Christmas backpack to the party? I.e., who's going to be your voice actor?
Incredible. I think I'm going to go with someone who we suggested earlier as Pluto. I have like 3 forms here, so I did 3 different people.
Sure.
So for Pluto, I'm going to go with Rip Torn because he was so
Excellent.
good in Hercules, and we're all he puts the Glad in Gladiator for me. Hercules was the ref making. I think that for the Margot Robbie version, we could go with Margot Robbie or Maya Rudolph. In either way, if she's gonna say bubble bam, then it'll make me happy. But for the hand with one eye, we're gonna have to get the Mario 64 team in to do the sound when a thwomp like jumps over and it goes. Argh! That's what I want.
Eric, I do have bad news. Rip Torn died last year.
And we're gonna go
Whoops.
into the underworld to get Rip Torn's spirit. and
That's
he's
actually
Okay.
part of the
That's part of
DLC.
the
Okay.
Kyle.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back on board.
Nailed the landing. Cool. All right. Well, we've got a lot of contracts to negotiate. Some a little harder than others. I.e., that big hot. We need to get that Hot Topic brand deal. So I'm gonna go talk with the powers that be. Why don't you guys? Oh wait, nope, I did this wrong. This is all staying in. This is fine. Before I do everything that I just said or whatever, why don't you give me your closing statements so that I can then take that information back and do the things that I just said.
All I'll say is that when we say what would Jesus do, flipping tables and whipping merchants is not off the table.
Oof. Matt.
In lieu of a closing statement, I'm going to take the advice that Todd gave me earlier and just say Boone some more. So, Boone, North Carolina, Boone County, West Virginia, Canadian hockey player Boone Jenner, Boone and Crockett scoring, and the Boondock Saints.
Perfect. Todd.
I'll throw the pitch like this. Hecate, when you want a goddess who will empower you with dark hex magic, but may also step on you a bit with her 3 pairs of heels.
Eric.
Listen, Kyle's wrong. Matt doesn't know what we're talking about, and Todd thinks it's pronounced Hades. I think I got it.
Perfect. All right. Well said, everyone. Now I'm going to do all that stuff I said earlier. So why don't you go between yourselves and give each other some good vibes?
Yeah, Matt, I like that you brought a similarly ancient god. I really think like mashing Egyptian mythology into Hades would be a really fun DLC. Todd, you being into getting stepped on wasn't the energy I thought we'd bring into 2021.
Didn't think I was doing that either.
Here we are.
Here we are. Hecate is a very good choice. It is in the mythology already. I like the three forms idea and everything, and Eric just A+. You came super prepared. Capitalism as the spooky new god you can buy for your game. It's great. I love it.
Thank you.
Kyle, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Your ability to commit to the bit on this podcast is unrivaled by any one host. So thank you for being you, and fuck you for the things you said today and the way it made me feel. Todd, your answer, at least for the last question, definitely made me the horniest. Like, I am the most into 3 goth hot topic cashiers that I am into anything else we talked about today. So kudos to you, I guess. And Eric, we do this thing on this podcast where we pull in ringer guests to come on our own show and then just beat the shit out of all of us. And apparently it's a thing that we're into, and you did a great job of that today. So thank you for coming to our show.
I guess you could say we all enjoy getting stepped on here at Debate This.
Thank you, Andrew. That's what I was going to say.
Kyle, your answer made me happy because it was funny and sad because it made me think of all the summers spent at Christian summer camp. But it was great to hear all the terrible things you said while committing to your bit. Like Matt said, I hated what you did. Matt, you stumbled your way through talking about a game you've never played.
Nailed it.
And did a pretty decent job. Actually, surprisingly good job. I'm gonna say that is probably
thanks.
like the warm, fuzzy, good vibe I can give you is you did a great job talking about a game you've never played convincingly. It was like playing Jackbox, the Faking It game.
Mhm.
Like we were all pointing at things or holding up numbers, and you're like, "Yeah, this is a number," and like, and mostly we didn't catch on.
You did a better job at pretending you knew about Hades than I do pretending I know about football. So
I'll
kudos.
take that. Yeah, thank you.
Eric, Andrew already took my joke about how you stepped on us and we all liked it. I was going to say that, and then Andrew said it.
Sorry.
So you stepping on us was different than what Hecate would do. But boy, I was glad you were here today, except that you made my really good answer seem potentially less good.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry that I stepped on all of you and asked if you were bad boys, and you said yes.
Just
It's
never
fine.
mind. I can't.
Kyle, when Andrew sent this to me, I was like, it'd be funny if someone did Jesus, and then I looked at the document and you chose Jesus, and I was like, okay, all right, here we go.
Let's go.
But yes, your commitment to the bit, I think, was really great, and it gave me an opportunity to tell you all the things that your Christian upbringing told you was right, which isn't right. So
Oh
I
my God,
appreciate that. And also
I'm
gave
well
us-
aware.
So all the Andrew's like Vietnam flashback to Christian summer camp.
You know how like certain memories just like dislodge from your brain from your repressed unconscious? That's what
Yeah.
happened today. It was a Guitar Hero guitar
Yeah.
syncing.
Yeah.
I first got a taste of that when I reminded Todd of how awful it is to sync a Guitar Hero guitar, and I've been chasing that high ever since. So
But Kyle, you did that, and I'm very proud of you. Matt, here's the thing. The inspiration of Hades came from when the guys at Supergiant, the way that they make the game is that, or they make games, they're like gaming philosophy, is that like they make the previous one and then they kind of like figure out what the fuck they're gonna do next. And someone was like a big mythology nerd and read a piece of Greek mythology that, and there's only like one mention in like some Homeric style epic poem of Hades having a son and his name is Zagreus. And there's no other detail on that. And then they're like, oh, let's make a game out of that. Here's the thing. Being a mythology nerd was so much more important than knowing this goddamn fucking game in,
Hell
in this
yeah.
episode
Yeah,
of Debate.
yeah.
So I loved all of your answers. It was just that's what we really needed. And I really appreciate that. Yeah, Todd, thanks for saying what all of us were thinking. I just really appreciate that for you.
That's what I'm here to do week after week.
I also want to give a special shout out to Andrew for really reaching deep into his subconscious and telling us things that he probably shouldn't. And we're all going to make fun of him for me as I come intermittently into your lives, like Mercury and the paths of like Venus and Mars interchanging in the thing. But you know all of these guys and have to talk to them frequently. So there you go. The special dispensation to Andrew.
Making friends is hard. Awesome. Well, all right. Well, I just want to say too, and usually the mod doesn't do good vibes, but I feel like I need to say, you all did an excellent job today. These were all really, really good, and blah blah blah. The execs, whatever. They liked all these for different reasons. One of you had really good energy. One of you had just the most fucking badass mythological figure that I think we've talked about in this podcast to date. And then two of you brought DLC that I would legitimately play as Hades, and specifically will be disappointed when it doesn't happen, when we do inevitably get that Hercules DLC. Let's start with Kyle, because obviously Kyle didn't win, but I just want to quickly acknowledge Kyle I want to acknowledge your energy and thank you for being you, most importantly.
I try.
Yeah, I know you do, bud. Matt, again, in a similar energy. Thank you for being you, but also Osiris rips. That was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Osiris fucks.
That was really good. Yeah,
With his big
Osiris
wooden
is really
penis,
cool.
he fucks.
he sure does. Todd, yeah, hey Kate, Hikante sauce.
Yep.
The actual like the necromancer stuff. I was like, you're just making a Diablo character, and that's rad.
A little
That
bit.
rules. So obviously the winner is going to be Eric, and there's a lot of reasons why. But most importantly, the actual like the boons that you create, like you fixed one of the things specifically that I dislike about one of the few things I dislike about Hades, which
Dealing
is
with Hermes.
Yeah.
dealing with Hermes. One, actually, yes, but two, it's specifically the build of the sword where you like do more damage the more money you have. That build, like whenever I get it, I always grab it because I think it's going to be awesome, and it's always shitty. You fixed a money build. Like that would be a money build. It's really good, and I love that. And because like, what else do you use money for in that game? Yeah, that was excellent. Every part of it. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you all for bringing this energy today.
Oh, Andrew, can I do one more shout out? One
Yeah.
more good vibe? I want to give us all good vibes because unlike everyone in video games right now, we didn't choose someone from Norse mythology. Pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. There was not one mention of Ragnarok until right now.
It's true.
So good job, guys. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you all for listening to Debate This. As always, you can follow along with the arguments on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Debate This Cast, or on our website at debatethiscast.com. Special thanks to Eric. Eric, can you tell us again where people can find you?
Absolutely. You can listen to Join the Party, the best sounding, most accessible Dungeons and Dragons podcast out there. You can find that wherever podcasts are sold or on Twitter at Join the Party Pod. You can find me on Twitter at L_Silvero, EL_SILVERO, my name if I was a Lucha Libre wrestler with an underscore in the middle. And you can find me streaming with Amanda, who suggested Monopoly and does all of our business in my life and in multitude at House Breakfast, twitch.tv/housebreakfast, and out on Twitter at housebreakfast_.
Awesome. Yeah, high recommendation for Join the Party. If you're sick of the traditional fantasy setting, I think this is a really fun alternative and kind of juicing things up a little bit. It's a really fun show. You guys do an excellent job.
Thank you.
Yeah. So speaking of, we do have our own little quick housekeeping pitch here. If 3 weeks a month isn't enough for you and you want more Debate This, consider subscribing to our Patreon. We mentioned this earlier. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/debatethiscast. For $5 a month, you can get access to the premium channel where we have our own D&D podcast, Forbagorfa and the Office Drones, where we are doing a D&D as office workers, like an HR rep who is a paladin and a project manager who is our bard, and it's real weird and real fun. We just at the time of recording, we are finishing up the marketing arc. We are.
I didn't know we had put a name on that arc yet.
No, we sure did. Just wait for my my Adventure Zone like comic book to come out in 5 years. We are searching for right now. The guys are searching for the magical brand book of Marvis and Marvis Worldwide. You can also have access to our new Disney Plus watch along, The Plus is Loose, where we are recapping the latest D Plus show. Right now, we are doing a weekly recap of WandaVision, led by Matt, which has been super fun.
It's probably some of the coolest content I think we've done.
Yeah, I'm having a really good time.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's not like I worked super hard on the office jokes or anything. Until next time, my name is Andrew Henderson.
I am Kyle, Rock Me Sexy Jesus Harper.
I am Matt, wikipedia.org/wiki/Jesus Cole.
I'm Todd, Black Magic Woman was written about Hecate Thomas.
I'm Eric, Abraham Lincoln Necromancer Silver.
And we're saying thanks for debating with us. And if you think we're wrong, then you can come fight us behind the swing sets, nerds.